When you're writing songs,
yeah,
and recording them, do you work all together, taking parts from that, parts from this, and working that together?
Yeah, on this album I did now called Post, I have a lot of different things. Like I have slightly techno-ish noises with bagpipes and voice, and I have other songs where there are a Brazilian string orchestra with a drum machine, and I have other songs with retarded samples along with a Latin brass section, sort of Tito Puente, like together, and everything's possible. Like now, for example, I'm sitting in a train, I'm still, but I'm moving at the same time, and I'm doing an interview with you, and I'm eating fruit, and I'm thinking about what tape to play next, and you can do all these things at the same time. And I think most human beings, even though they wouldn't admit it when you ask them, I think they all do it. Sometimes even when I have sex, I'm thinking about something completely different. But that's actually a bit naughty to do that, because you should try to focus and concentrate just on one thing at a time. You should try to.
How is it to release an album after the last one, the very big seller?
What?
How is it to release a new album now after this last one, the debut, which was very big all over the world?
Oh, debut was such a surprise how big it became and how many people liked it, because it was probably the most personal thing I've ever done in my life, like very private, because I was like opening my diary, and became probably the most social extrovert thing I'd ever done, because suddenly everybody noticed me, and it was very strange. But now I'm doing my second album, and I think the reason why people liked my last album was because I wasn't trying to please anyone. And the thing is, if you don't try to please anyone, there's like a very funny rule. I have learned a lesson that if you don't please anyone, you have a slight chance of pleasing everyone. But if you try to please just one person, or even 10 people, if you try to please them, you won't please anyone. It sounds a bit like stupid, but it's actually the truth.
When you're writing for the last album, for the debut, you are free in writing your songs. You were not under pressure. And you're free as well, not for this album?
Yeah, the thing is, when you write songs, because it's such an instinctive process, you can only write the songs you can write. You know, that's all there is to it. You can only be what you are, and you can only do your best. I mean, that's the most you can do. And I did it with Post, you know. I've been making music long enough to know that if I'm not happy myself, no one will be. And so I just try to please myself. Bonsoir. My name is Björk. Welcome to Buzz TV. I went to Iceland for 1 month on Christmas, and it was brilliant. I was out there with all my friends, and we were having long talks and drinking alcohol and jumping between the boats, and having that feeling being in a blizzard with a big 1 liter bottle of vodka in your hand and your best friend on the side. It's the best thing in the world, I think. The sugar cubes were very much a social thing. They were very much about, the different levels you have in your life, You have people that you get drunk with, and you go out and go, hey, woo, 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 and you go to the pub and you dance and all the silly things. And sugar cubes were very much about that. So all the lyrics of the sugar cubes were very much about that. And sometimes in a situation like this, you talk about sex in a very arrogant way, like, yeah, I like her thighs, all these things like this, like, oh, he's got great neck, I love to, you talk about sex in a very way like this. But I think when I make music on my own, it's more private. It's more what I would do in my living room on my own. And I think in a way it's just as obsessed with sex, but just in a very different way. Because when you got a person this close to you like this, you don't say sex, 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 because it would just scare the person. She will run out like this and never see you ever again. Army of Me is about my friend. It's one of my best friends. I've known him since I was 5 years old. And he is very very lazy, you know, and he don't really get to do things. He like complain. So I go to him and say, if you don't stand up and go and do things for yourself, nothing will happen. And if you complain once more, you'll need an army of me. So I threaten him because I love him. And I shake him. Go now and sort your life out, you know. Get a life. Maybe when I'm like 40 years old and I'll be really fat, you know, and I maybe live in like Ibiza or something, and I will run a little cafe and I make really bad sandwiches, and in the evening I will sing the old songs from when I was famous when I was young, and I go like, and everybody will go, oh no, here she goes again, and everybody will go home, but slightly happy.